to be our veterans agent to meet the requirement of the law. And then we had 2 clerical staff members, veterans office clerks in Priscilla and Den. So Priscilla and Den would not be able to, or at least Priscilla would not be able to file VA claims if she wanted to work full time, because she wasn't a veteran. The startup time, so to speak, for other candidates who were interested in the position is anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get them on their own. I've been told by both of our returning part-time veteran agent clerks that they are looking forward to stepping away and wouldn't be willing to stay much longer than sometime in January. So from my point of view, this candidate is somebody who can step into Priscilla and Den's shoes immediately. The only training she really needs is where things are filed in the veterans office. She is the only South Shore she is the only South Shore veterans agent who is required, who has received all the required certifications through the VA. So I think she's a great candidate, first and foremost, because of the situation she's in. Having the requirements met that she has makes her even more appealing. The fact that we're going to lose our veterans admins in the next 30 days, and the fact that the town of Plymouth will no longer process veterans agent claims for us because of the additional workload that's required because of the certification, all in my mind just makes it all that much more important to get somebody in the door that can service our veterans, service them well, and do so without any break of service. So be happy to answer any questions. I guess the last statement I'd make is I spoke to Den and to Priscilla last week. The salary that's in the fiscal 25 budget is $58,729. We're obviously offering $67,000, about $10,000, not $9,000 increase. Based on the expenses that the Veterans Office has incurred through most of December, there will be the $9,000 to $10,000 needed to fund the difference within the Veterans Office itself. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has on this request.
Do you want to go first or I will?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Keith, can you explain that last piece again about the funding? I'm not sure I followed.
Okay, sure. I'm sorry. So the veterans budget is made up of primarily of wages, but primarily benefits that are budgeted for with regards to our veterans. Looking at the budget right now through December, most of the way through December, there is sufficient funding available to fund this $9,000 or $10,000 difference between the wages that were included in the fiscal 25 budget and the wage that I'm recommending be paid to our candidate in fiscal 26. And just, I guess, one last thing on wages, because she's going to be starting after January 1st, she will be at grades at step 7 until till June 30th of 2026.
Right.
So just under 18 months, 17 months, give or take. That's part of the bylaw. So she's there for a year.
And she understands that, correct?
She does. Does that answer your question, Kim?
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button. Yes, thank you.
You bet.
And there's enough money in the budget for the remainder of 24 to pay the difference.
So 25, yes, sir.
So this
Fiscal year, yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yep.
So that's about $4,000, $4,200.
So the fiscal 25, what was the number, 58,7?
58,729.
You know,
And the number is a grade 5, step 7, it'd be 67,309.
right. Okay. With respect to the applicant,
Mhm.
I have absolutely no problems with the applicant's credentials. As a matter of fact, I think the credentials on the applicant are a little bit better than the previous office holder. So, you know, if you sit down and go, you know, spot to spot, you know, you can see where the improvements are. The only thing we did notice, or the thing that I didn't notice, was I don't have a copy of the employment application.
Oh, you didn't get that? I'm
I
sorry.
didn't get that. That's okay. That's why I stopped at Tina, and Tina's not there.
Okay.
But the point is, the only thing I can't find is her education. I don't see anything in her education documents that I have. Do you have anything?
Mhm.
No, I found nothing. However, the way the job posting puts out, it talks about combinations of things, you know, like BS or 4 years experience and yada, yada, yada. And if you look at the applicant for Sarah, her credentials add up to more than 4 years of related experience, anything from the commander at the Legion, you know, a couple of employments, you know, Duxbury, Whitman. She's been in the veterans world for a long time. So I had no problem with her as an applicant. It's the tendency to want to put anybody with 4 years at the top of the range. And that's what we went the compensation study for. We fought that and, you know, not fought for that, but we got the people in town to look at that. So we can't automatically send everybody up to the, you know, to step 9.
Understood.
So that's why we were looking not so much as her credentials, but how are we dealing with this money? How are we offering money to people? Because then there's also the matter of people that have been here longer with doing jobs and they're not on the same. When you start dumping up to step 9, you're really hurting the morale and the people.
Understood.
So she's come down and agreed with you to go down to 67,309. That's what she's willing to do?
Correct.
Okay, and that's a step, that's what, grade
Step-
5, step 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
She did, excuse if I could, she sent a letter today that I wasn't aware she was gonna send, that you guys
Yes.
just received a copy of it now.
Yes,
So I
just got it.
apologize for the late notice.
It's okay.
Um,
Haven't even read it.
that's
Can't-
what,
not really.
you just got it.
Scan it.
So again, I think what she's trying to do is provide, you know, some additional background information
Yeah.
for both the boards of selectmen and the Wage and Personnel Committee to better understand where her experience is, what she's done, and in her mind, why she's qualified for the position. So I apologize for the late delivery of that. We got it, I don't know, mid to late morning this morning.
Merry Christmas. That's all.
Well, I appreciate her taking the initiative to
Yeah.
get it to us and try to provide some additional information because she understands the challenges that both boards have and looking to bring somebody on.
Okay. Well, that's my position is that, you know, I'm thinking about how to deal with and assign a grade. But her experience and credentials are fine with me. It's how to deal with that one.
I understand, and if I could just, and I don't want to put our current veterans agents on the spot, but they know her, they know her professionally, they've worked with her professionally, and they feel very strongly that she will be able to come in the door and provide the same high level of service that the veterans in Kingston have become accustomed to, which is obviously, you know, important as well.
As a matter of fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, how many veterans were we, Priscilla? 900 and something?
We're around 850.
850.
About the same size.
All right. Because if you compare to, you know, Duxbury, it's 700, according to her documents, and Whitman about 800. So they're comparable. It sounds like it's very comparable. Okay. Hmm.
Any questions from the select board to Lorraine?
I do not have any. Kim, Don, Missy?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
Okay.
a couple of things. I appreciate you guys being here because this is kind of the deep dive we do at Wage and Personnel Board. And I do realize that the selectmen don't always get into the weeds the way we get into the, and nor should you. I appreciate you guys giving this some attention. Also, I have a little history with the veteran agent with Priscilla. I've done her budget a couple of times when I was on the finance committee. So I'm very aware and comfortable with the way the financing works through the Veterans Office. I was the no vote. So the real thing is why didn't I vote yes? Well, a couple of things. One is that the applicant, based on their Veterans Agent Services, has just giving a little benefit of the doubt, 4 years of service, which is the minimum requirement that we asked for in this job. So I will say that at our last meeting, I did say that I would love to have this candidate. And honestly, I'd love to have the candidate at step 3. Why? Because I think she deserves more than step 1, given her service and so forth. So, and when I saw step 10 initially, and then step 9 at our meeting, I honestly had issues with it. I do have a question though. My question is, do we pay shine officers a stipend?
I don't know what shine offer is, I'm sorry.
A shine officer does the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security for the COA. Okay, she is a recognized shine officer, a certified shine officer. The reason and this is going to go to my next point of why I didn't vote for this. Okay. The other thing that we're responsible for in Wage and Personnel is to be very, very fair. And very, very fair means how we accept grades and steps as it relates to the people that are also in grade 5. Okay, now most of the people that are in grade 5 currently are above our steps because they're grandfathered in, they've been here a long time. That's a compliment to keeping his team together. Okay, the people stay. Okay, but at the same time, that could change. Someone could come in as the new assistant to the fire chief or assistant to the police chief. And when we're talking about bringing a veterans agent in at step 9, the question is fairness. Then also, if you, look at the grading chart, okay, at step 7, she's at 67,309. There are 4 grades, rather in step 5, there are 4 grades in step 7 before you get to that, the 4th year. So again, it's this fairness idea that I want to try to maintain. So going back to my question about the shine officer, if there was a way to pay this person a stipend to be a shine officer and bring them in, and I agree with Lorraine, her credentials are very, very good, and bring her in at, say, step 5 plus about a $3,000 stipend gets her to the money she wants and gives her room to grow. And I believe is a more fair way to approach a hire than bringing in at a higher step, a higher step. So that's my logic, and I don't know if there's any room for that logic in here, but that is the reason why I voted no. Okay, is to maintain a sense of fairness in the grades and steps, and also to look at what the job requirement was and what the applicant brought to the table. I will say I'm impressed with the applicant's letter today. I didn't expect that. Okay, so I have to compliment. But that would be an option that I would consider. Okay, and like I said, I don't know if I would assume we pay shine officers a stipend. I don't know. I don't know where they're listed in my bylaw. So I don't know if Lorraine knows.
I'm not aware of a stipend for Shine.
Okay.
Who does it for the council on aging now?
There's a shine officer because my wife has an appointment with her next month.
And it would apply to anybody in the town.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when I was retiring from Hanover, I was touching base with the Shine officer in Kingston.
Is it part of the COA budget?
It used to be the outreach worker was Shine certified.
So it was part
I
of
don't know how
the,
the compensation is.
okay. Well, this person's not the outreach worker that my wife has an appointment with. That I know.
And I don't recall seeing anything in our.
I don't either. That's why I was asking the question.
We have stipends, but they're very few.
Mhm.
Because we don't like them, as a rule. And this would, if you were to do that, if you were to do the grade 5, step 5, which would bring us to 63. If there's a cost of living, it would be applied to that and not to the stipend.
Unless we raise the stipends. Which
Right,
we've
the
done,
step-
which we've
yeah.
done.
You don't do stipend, you don't do co-run stipend.
No, we don't,
No,
no, but
so-
we've adjusted them periodically.
Right,
Right.
so you'd be able to deal with the budget from that point of view.
Can we, so this is all news to me, so if I could take 5 minutes and go call the council on aging director, I'd be happy to have a conversation with her if she's there. Ask
Okay.
her how they deal with
And
Shine.
again, all I'm suggesting is it accomplishes two things, as far as I'm concerned. One, it keeps fairness.
Mhm.
Two, it will reward somebody who brings more to the table. This person brings more than the past candidate, okay?
Yes.
The past candidate I voted against, okay? And I was outvoted. And again, because I didn't think the candidate had the credentials. And that candidate was hired at step 4. Okay, I think this candidate is more credentialed than that candidate and is definitely worth step 5. I just think it's important that these are held in a reserve understanding the way I believe they should be. So, and by the way, at step 5, the person would be making 63,497. And the average on Keith's form was 57,588. So we'd be certainly above the average.
Respectfully, I'm not sure how you come up with that average.
It's right here. Average full time.
I think
that was the letter from That's the letter from her. That's so, again,
I'm
attached
just
to my,
reading what it says right
attached
there.
Oh, I see.
attached to my memo are the communities that we've used in our wage and benefit survey.
Uh-huh.
These are the wages. There's either a range, or if there's not a range and it's the salary. I place that, for example, Abington does not have a range. They pay somebody $73,601.
Mhm.
That's why that's there.
Mhm.
Carver has a range of 41 to 64, for example.
Right.
Um,
And when you agree to 63,497 is well within that range.
Mhm.
absolutely. But it's not, I guess what I'm challenging a little bit, frankly, is
Please do.
her numbers reflect a number of communities that are on our wage survey, and we're not comparable to the town of Kingston. What I try to do with my comparison is try to provide credibility by using the exact same communities that were used in our townwide salary survey. So that's why she had shown me that, and while I appreciated her doing her homework on that, some of the communities that she has listed there were not part of the 2022 wage survey. So with whether they were considered or not, I'm not sure, depending on the communities. I know some of them were, but because of their different characteristics, they weren't included in our, as the communities in our wage survey. So I didn't use them in my.
And honestly, Keith, again, to rebut you a little bit, I would tell you that I did do a research, and the average salary paid for small towns, including Carver, Nantucket, are between $40,000 and $60,000. And that was just a simple Google search. They paid more in Metro Boston. They paid less in Western Mass.
I agree. And
So
again,
I think, the point, we're not the hiring body. They are.
Mhm.
As far as I'm concerned, I think the point of this meeting is you make your case, I make mine, she
Sure.
makes hers.
Yep.
And they decide whether they want to hire the person or not. Okay, but I'm explaining why I came to my conclusion, just the way you did and just the way Lorraine did. And I think it's important that, you know, everybody understands that. And, you know, and it's not the paying her, whether we pay her 67 or we pay her 63. That's not even an argument as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
It's just that I take the step back 10 feet and how does it appear? Because that's the thing that has to be done correctly, is just to treat everybody fairly. And that's the part. I didn't have a problem when it came to a finance director at step 10. I had no problem with a planning director at step 10. Why? Because those positions are really hard to find and really hard to fill. I don't have a problem with the recent request we had for a nurse at a step 10 on an hourly wage. All right, because I know how hard it is to get a nurse. So I firmly support,
I understand.
okay? But take it back a step. I don't think this one is, I don't want to use the word as important because that's incorrect, but doesn't have the same level of requirement. And I think that I guess all I'm saying is, look, if we can't turn around and hire this person at a suggestion that I make, and you can go check and see what we do with COA, then let her stay in Duxbury. Okay,
Fair enough.
so I mean, you know, expand the search. That's the way I'm.
Okay,
Okay.
Sure.
Now, again, I'm not the hiring authority. They are.
understood.
Okay. So that's, and so I'm going to turn it over to you, Eric, and let you guys, you know, have a discussion. If you want Keith to go get the information, then you can certainly do that.
Eric, can I ask a question related to what you're just talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you speak for a moment of the sort of special knowledge related to this position, or Dan or Priscilla, whoever wants to fill us in a little bit? Because I don't know how difficult it is to fill this position. I know that we didn't have a veteran since what, Bill Martin, right? So, and when did he retire?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know how difficult it is to hire for either. It seems difficult from my seat, but maybe you guys can speak to that a little bit.
I think Keith explained that there were approximately 25 applicants, the
Well-
majority of which didn't even have veterans
Yeah, but the,
experience, so.
4 years ago,
Yeah.
when we were considering whether to do a veterans agent or when we signed the agreement with the town of Plymouth, the only requirement was you had to be a veteran. Okay, this new requirement has come in the last year or so, year and a half, that requires that you have to be certified in the veterans agents, what's the certification? Nationally Accredited Veterans Service Representative, NACVSO is the certification, and they have to be tested on it. And the last agent that was hired, okay, was hired who was not a certified veterans agent, but promised to get their certification basically on our dime, all right, while they were engaging in the office. And there would have been maybe a 6-month window for that person to get that certification. We agreed with that because of the difficulty in hiring these people. They're not that easy to hire. Okay, and I do understand that. But you know, the difficulty of hiring and the fairness of the schedule, to me, have different weights. So that's the reason why I said what I said.
All right. Any other questions, Dawn or Missy? If not, then my suggestion is we go ahead and let Keith speak to the Council on Aging, because I feel like we need to get your final decision before we as the Board of Selectmen discuss our choice.
Well, I'd like to hear the recommendation too from as well. So they'll
You'd
probably
like to hear from who, Kim?
do they need to vote now that they have additional information? They may, I don't know if they're doing a reconsideration or if their vote from last time still stands. But I guess
We can do another vote. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'd like to do another vote once I know if we can pay a shine agent.
Yeah.
And if that's a possibility to talk about. I think it's worth 5 minutes.
Reset.
Yeah, Eric, you want to recess for 5 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, so why don't we just call a recess for 5 minutes? It's 3:32. We'll resume back here at 3:40.
Sounds like a plan.
Great,
I'm just
thank
gonna
you.
stay, I'll stay connected, but I'm turning off my mic.
Yep. All right, we will now resume the joint meeting of the Wage and Personnel Committee and the Board of Selectmen. Okay, Keith.
So I spoke to our acting COA director, Holly McGelly, who tells me that the state of Massachusetts provides a, what's the program name?
Shine.
Shine, provides a shine agent on Wednesdays at the conference, at no cost to the town of Kingston. So that's the answer.
So no funds available to come up with a creative solution.
Not from that one.
Not from the state.
Okay.
Not from the COA.
Well, and you know, I hope you understand, I'm not just,
I
I'm
respect-
not a no to say no, I'm trying to come up with an answer.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so I thought that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I'm not
All right,
suggesting it's not. I'm
so,
trying to figure it out too. I just, you know, I understand the concern you have. I just want to assure both boards that, you know, when Tina and I are making these recommendations, we're certainly taking into consideration the concerns of long-term employees who have been here a while, who might look at this and be disheartened about a new employee starting at a grade or a step, excuse me, that might be higher than they started at. So it's those things that take into consideration. I mean, if I could hire this person at step one, I would. I'm not gonna be able to hire this person at a lower rate, and I think she's worthy of the step that we're proposing, without having to take into consideration the Kingston specific challenges we're gonna be facing if we don't hire. Which will just exacerbate things.
And I don't disagree with you. I honestly could, sitting in your chair, I would obviously think the same way, okay? Because reading her qualifications, and she, like I said, barely meets qualifications. She does though,
Yeah.
okay? She does come with a background. You know, when I, be honest with you, when I initially heard
Mhm.
the amount at step 10, I thought that she was, and I saw her resume, I thought she was a paid general manager at the American Legion. So I pulled an IRS 991 form on the American Legion to see who, if they were paid. She is a volunteer.
Mhm.
Because I was trying to figure, why does she need so much money? You know, why are we so high? You know, what's the, so, you know, it wasn't like I just came to this and said,
Understood?
you know, but again, I'll reiterate, I'm not the hiring authority.
No, I understand.
You know,
I don't want to speak for the Board of Selectmen,
No.
but when I went to the
No.
board last Tuesday, the board was interested in hearing was interested in hearing the Wage and Personnel Committee's opinion once they knew what the new wage proposal was.
Mhm.
So while you're not the hiring authority, and I think they understand that as well, they respect the opinion of Wage and Personnel, and they'd like to hear where you guys come down before they make a final decision, is the impression I walked away from.
Yeah, and for me, this one is the type of decision that honestly, I either stand on what I presented or I swallow hard.
Understood.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't need any more discussion. Do you?
No, I do have a quick question now about the stipend. Why would why would it matter to us as a town if we paid that person a stipend without getting, you know, as you say, they don't get money from the state for shine.
Mhm.
But in this particular instance, would it be possible to consider that random number 3,000 stipend? Would there be any problem or any illegality or uncomfortable or anything? The only thing I can think of is if you're gonna do a 3,000 stipend for a shine person and veterans, then that person that lives in the Council on Aging is gonna start asking the same question.
Well, that person gets paid by
Right,
through
by
the
the state.
COA, by the state. The state
Oh,
gives
okay,
them
see,
funds.
all right, so that's
Okay.
the question.
The other question would be, does the state cap it at one person based on population or whatever the program is? I don't know.
Okay,
Okay,
right.
the other side of it too is if we wanted to create a stipend that's a creation of another position, okay, which I don't think we would be taking up at this meeting. We'd have to have another meeting and bring it before as a public meeting.
Yes.
I only ask a question as a possible alternative to still keep the fairness that I'm looking for, as well as to keep this candidate. Okay, that was the idea of my suggestion. So, but I think at this point, with not knowing how the Shine system is funded, if there's room for another or not, I have no idea. I can tell you one thing, person who has veterans experience and Shine experience would be very valuable from the standpoint of being able to handle the veterans issues in one sitting.
Yes.
Should I just maybe touch on one thing that hasn't been brought up yet? You know, one of the things that Sarah brought up, you know, during the interview process was that, and I think she is a veterans agent in Duxbury. Her office is in the her office is in the Council on Aging building. And whether she sits over there full-time or she has hours over there is something I think she's very interested in pursuing. So it may not get to exactly what you're looking for, but I agree with you. If I can have a veteran who's also a member of the Council on Aging not have to come over here while they're visiting the Council on Aging as well, it's a win-win. They can pop in and hopefully, you know, if there are veterans that visit the COA and aren't taking advantage of veterans benefits through the town by her being over there and having a presence over there, hopefully that will incite somebody to take advantage of whatever benefits they might be eligible for. So I can see, and I haven't spoken to Holly yet, but I think it'd be worthwhile having the COA. I'm sorry, having the veterans agent at the COA for specific times and dates. So the people who attend activities at the COA could be there and sit down and spend time with them if they have an interest or a need to do so. So she did mention that, like I said, during her interview process, and I'm sure she's would be very interested in going over and helping out wherever she can.
No, and I appreciate that. My only concern is how do we get the money from going to the COA to help reduce the veterans agent salary, okay, and add it back to the veterans agent budget. If you're going to replace the Shine agent that the COA is using with this candidate and gives you, or maybe you're eligible for an additional one. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know the program.
I don't either.
All right, but the point is the COA is getting the money for the Shine agent from the state. That's exactly what you came in and told us.
No, I didn't. I think if I did, I misspoke. A Shine agent is being provided by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts cost.
So they pay them separately. It's not brought through the
There's
COA
no cost
to the town.
to the town of Kingston for having a Shine agent at the COA when they're there.
So it's not a reimbursed situation.
No, sir.
No.
There's no cost whatsoever.
And
And we don't
Keith,
know how many Shine agents we can have
Right. Working in that same space, I guess.
in this town.
I don't know. I mean, and again, my perception of what this would work out like is the veterans agent would certainly have a conversation with either the state or the existing Shine agent if if the same person's consistently coming. Is there a need to provide additional support? Can you have a second day of the week?
From my personal experience,
Sure.
I can tell you there is a need because
Okay,
my wife made an appointment. That appointment got changed because her eligibility was further out.
Okay.
And the Shine agent needed the time now for somebody that was more pressing
okay.
because their time frame was much more narrow.
So what I would look to try to have occur is to have our veterans agent supplement the Shine agent from the state. Whether it be by having a second day at the at the COA building, or just making people aware that our veterans agent is Shine qualified and is in the building 35 hours a week. And if they have a question and they can't be seen in a timely manner at the COA, then they're absolutely come here and take advantage of that capability of the veterans agent.
And depending on what you find out in terms of how they are paid. It could also answer your, basically July 1, 2026 window of not supplying an increase in grade by possibly using something with the state of Massachusetts and an additional shine agent.
Sure, I mean, if the state would be willing to reimburse us for some time for the veterans agent to be a shine, the veterans agent also deal with shine applicants, I'd be happy to look at, to investigate that. And how they determine how many shine agents are eligible for each
I have
community,
no
because
idea.
I would tend to agree, if one shine agent isn't enough for Kingston at times, it's certainly not enough for a larger community as well. So how are they deciding the number of shine agents? Have we even called the state to say, we have a problem and we really think we need a second one occasionally because our veterans are finding themselves having to wait longer periods of time than the town of Kingston wants them to wait to sit with a shine agent. So I can ask those questions as well. I was not aware very candidly of the shine program. So I am.
Only because
I
I've
get
been
it.
hearing.
No, I get it.
That's
So
all.
I'd be happy to look into it. And whether we can help out and have our veterans agent work with shine applicants at the town of Kingston's cost to provide a better service so they're not waiting as long. I think that makes sense. And if we can get some sort of reimbursement from the state in doing it, that's great. But I don't know how, I don't want you to make a decision based on that.
No,
because
no.
I don't know.
I was, again, and I appreciate that. I'm trying to come to terms with it so that the one thing I don't want to do is take an arrow out of your quiver of doing your job.
No, I appreciate
And
that.
I'm trying to come up with, I'm not here just to complain about money. I'm
No.
also trying to come up with a solution.
Listen, I mean, I appreciate,
So-
we're checks and balances here. There's nothing personal being taken.
No,
We're
no.
trying to figure out a way to make this work, and I respect that. I have no problem with it.
You know, and
So,
again, the truth be told, the reason that Priscilla was working with a vets agent when I was on finance is because I turned around and read the law and we found Plymouth because they were an adjacent community. You know, and I understand that there was a discussion with Duxbury and that they decided not to, or just never answered you, from what I understand. So at least that was brought up at the last meeting.
So I did not get a definitive answer from Duxbury, but what we got from our candidate now is that Duxbury was not interested in participating in a more regional approach to this. So I did not hear, unfortunately, back directly from the town manager, I think it is in Duxbury, but we heard that they just did not want to work collaboratively on this situation.
And that's a different discussion for a different
Absolutely.
day. I
Yep.
mean, to be honest with you, you know, I blame it on the county level, but that's just me. So, but,
Understood.
all right, again, any questions, Eric, from your side?
No, I mean, for me specifically, I don't really know where we are. It doesn't sound like you guys have a recommendation.
Oh, we'll probably put a motion on the floor and vote on it. I just, before we did that, I just wanted to know if there was any more discussion from you guys.
Yeah, and I don't want to interrupt your process. I mean, Kim, Dawn, Missy, do you all have questions at this point? Or I think we're really just waiting for them to finish what they need to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The other comment that I had to make is shine is for everyone.
Okay.
I don't believe they would limit it to just veterans.
Okay, I
for just one
apologize. I
person.
misspoke.
No, not an apology. No apology necessary. I think the language is pretty self-serving, serving the health insurance needs of everyone. That's the name.
Okay.
So I don't believe, but it might be a question that you might want to ask if you come into a conversation with the state,
Sure.
you know,
I
and
absolutely do that.
can a shine person who's limited to a veteran, you know, I don't think you can do that. I think it's for everyone.
So my 2 cents would be if our veterans agent is shine certified and is a resident of the town of Kingston who needs help with insurance.
Yep.
Then I know that she would make the time, and I would advocate for her to make the time
You're
to help that person.
Yeah, no, and you know, I can see it happening where the state agent only comes in 1 day a week.
Sure.
You know, all of a sudden somebody has a crisis on a Monday.
Yep.
This person for a quick question,
Absolutely.
you know, or at least point them in the right direction.
Yeah, no question.
It would be really helpful for the residents to have.
No question. I mean, if we can expand and improve our service, we want to do.
I'm going to turn into a pumpkin in about 5 minutes. I only set aside 15 to 30 minutes for this meeting, and I have to get back to work. So
Oh,
should we reschedule this meeting, or are you guys almost done?
I'm done.
Okay. Did you?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna let me put a motion on the floor for our board. We'll do our vote and then we'll turn it over to you guys.
Sounds good.
All right, so the motion that I'm suggesting, Lorraine, is a motion to hire the vet agent above step 3 of grade 5 to a rate of step 5, grade 7, as proposed by Keith and the administration.
Grade 7, grade 5 steps.
Grade
Grade
5,
five,
step
step
7,
seven.
correct.
and
Okay.
that's
I thought you had it.
67.
At 67,309
Right.
annual. Okay. That's a motion to approve. That's the motion.
Second the motion.
Okay, I'll call the roll. Lorraine?
Yes.
Jim? Yes.
Thank you. I do appreciate your diligence. It's good check and balance.
You guys have done a lot of homework in the applicants.
I apologize for not getting you all the homework ahead.
I want to give Eric his time, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a motion to close the wage and personnel meeting.
So moved.
And Lorraine?
Yes.
Jim, yes. The wage and personnel is closed at 3:54 p.m.
Okay. And thank you, Jim and Lorraine, for giving us a view into how this works. It's helpful for me because I haven't seen this before, so very helpful.
What you might want to look at is some of the reclassifications that have been submitted to us for this upcoming ATM. There's some interesting things, so you might want to just listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So for the board, Dawn and Kim and Missy, do we have any questions or do we want to make a motion?
I can make a motion if you guys are ready for one.
I'm ready. And we can discuss after the motion too.
Move the Board of Selectmen appoint Sarah Lansing to the position of Veterans Agent, a Schedule D5, Step 7 exempt position as part of the Wage and Personnel Bylaw with an anticipated start date of February 3rd, 2025, consistent with the terms of the offer letter.
Second.
All right. Before we vote, is there any discussion?
No, I mean, I just echo what everyone else said. I appreciate the deeper dive into this. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad we're all on board. And I know it's tough for the wage and personnel with being a 2-member board. That makes it kind of tough. All right. So all those in favor will do roll call. Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Don, I.
Missy, I.
All right. So that's unanimous on our side. Do we need anything else, Keith? Or
We do. We have to set someone to be the financial aid application reviewer.
thank you. Thank you. So Tammy Murray had resigned that position. Thank you, Kim, for reminding me. Kim, would you be interested in doing that?
I'm happy to do it if that makes life easy for everybody.
All right, so I'll make a motion that Kim is our what is the wording for it exactly?
Financial aid reviewer on behalf
So
of the
moved. So moved.
Second.
Do I have a second? All right. All those in favor, Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Don, I.
Missy, I. Thank you, Kim.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. Am I missing anything else?
No, sir.
Motion to adjourn. And
All
Merry
righty.
Christmas and Happy
And
Holidays.
Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you.
Do we have a second? We have.
Second.
All right.
I seconded with my hand.
All those in favor, Eric, aye.
Kim, I.
Don, I.
Missy, I.
Well,
At what, 3, 7?
357.